What is sifting for anyway? To find the gold, to find the prize. That's right, to find the prize and grade it to death. You were good at that. Thanks. Which necropolis are we headed to again? He asked. It was as if they both kept putting it out of their minds. The blue deaths can sometimes matter one. The forensic moonshiners, the dead all laid out above ground like a battlefield still in battle. That's right, Jesus. All remains to be seen. Get it? You want to drive? She closed her eyes. You didn't want this trip? You didn't want me to make an appearance back there in the green cemetery and present myself to you? I didn't know you just needed a ride. I didn't just need a ride. Finn's throat began to close. I also wanted to see you, Finn, she said. That was certainly part of it, to know you were all right. Part of it? Well, I'm obviously not all right. You're going to need my motivation here to be totally about you, she asked. You want the whole mournful play to yourself? Yeah, I wanted the whole fucking mournful play to myself. Jesus, Lily, you are pitiless. The wind that broke from her was not the usual wind of death. It contained the rustle of leaves and a kind of back-to-school song in the old sachet of thawed frozen dinner. You think because of my condition I don't have feelings? She asked. He scratched his head. What do the people do again at this place we're going to? They study your body to find out who the murderer is and how long he has been on the lam. Most murderers on the lam for a while. I'm helping to solve crimes. Whatever happened to your desire to be a crash test dummy? Automotive safety seems a noble cause. That's in Motor City, the other direction. Yes, a test crash cadaver. I'm not a good driver. You don't have to be the driver. The dummy doesn't drive, at least not always. I'm driving. I can turn around right now. Oh yeah, see, I'm so dumb. It's like I've already been in a crash. It's as if I've already slammed my head into the rearview mirror. It's as if I've already hurtled my chest into the glove compartment and split my heart in two like an apple. Spare me, Finn did not say. Nor always with the apples. I suppose at this police site they do things like test the mineral level of the fetching twinkle in your eye, the number and nature of the beetles swarming over your personal gelatin. They do indeed do things like that. Perhaps we should go back to singing. We could sing Beatles songs for a kind of entomological theme. Don't you love farce? That's not a Beatles song. My fault. I thought you'd want what I want. No, Finn said. Aren't we a pair? Me here at last in, or on, the ground? I never liked that song. Nobody likes that song. Still, it was our theme song at the clown office. You gotta love your theme song. Be true to your school. I never worked anywhere that had a theme song. Well, let me tell you, you really missed out. Do you know anything by Death Cab for Cutie? No, she said, I don't. He was quiet for a moment. Don't you want people gathered around paying you tribute by singing songs? She exhaled a kind of snotty snort. Ah, you're joking, right? He slowed, then stopped to avoid two turkeys with silver heads and sable feathers crossing casually as if they'd never seen a car on this road before. Don't you want something real? A headstone, a marker of any sort, so I can come visit? While they were waiting for the turkeys to be done with their gobble and bobble, he looked over at her. She had gone into her 100-yard stare out the windshield. There was a fading to her skin, the way a bee dead on a winter windowsill had no more yellow. She seemed to be chewing gum, but it was surely just the inside of her cheek. Do you want that? A headstone? She asked absently. The odor of pond scum wafted off her teeth when she spoke. He now decided the sky was a better place for looking, and he leaned over the dashboard to look up and through the windshield. Could Venus rise in the afternoon? Or was that Jupiter? And why was the human race so interested in Mars and not Venus? Venus was close. It was love. It was the murky past. But all the clues to the future were there, though located where they always were in the past. So time travel. Someday it would be managed. He leaned back against his seat. Me? For myself? I want a nice medium-sized rock that glitters a little on a sunny day. I want it to be near a picnic table. And I want it engraved with my name, address, and phone number. Your phone number, she moved her jaw around, again as if she were chewing gum. Don't you want a little maudlin quote that sums up your life? Yeah, I want... Well, that was weird. All caps. Actually, he wanted only the conventional thing, a stone tablet covered in lichen in the churchyard by the church on Church Street. All caps. Also, got no emojis for this. Also, attention, underlying conditions. The turkeys had finally crossed, and he started up again. The pathetic trees and dead underbrush zipped by, and to take his mind off Lily for a moment, he concentrated on gene splicing. George Harrison, leafcutter bees, and of course the fiery, blinking pinpricks of the planets. He resumed his contemplation of what seemed to him a puzzle. Why did everyone want to travel to Mars again? Were they like a Martian destination wedding? One should want simply to prevent a Venusian fate. He could not believe where he was driving. The moon no longer seemed to be rising, but to be in a lunar standstill. A gibbous waxed almost to the point of full. He could not believe where he was taking her. A meteor hovered low on the horizon without movement, then blitzed away. It was almost evening again. He and Lily would once again be driving at night. The staring stars and their magnificent rudeness would not deter the two of them. The dippers, the gods, the warriors, all flickering about the ambiguous emoji of the moon. Finn's own particular universe and its nothingness was down there. Did you enjoy, Jack? What? You heard me. Eh, she said, her running deafness joke. Then she added, I was pretending with Jack. The whole thing with him was pretend. How about with me? He was changing his mind about everything, the wheeling ceiling of the stars. Who were the two of them with their trivial wretchedness beneath the icy fire overhead? Yeah, no, she said. With you? I was pretending a lot less. She looked out the window. Love cannot occur unless you are free to love. You have to be free or it's not love. Here he knew she was speaking of her illness, of the extra room of the mind that was the suicide room and lit up and flung its doors open, of the bruising bash against the killing glass. But he leapt in anyway. No, love is a feeling and condition that seldom waits for perfect circumstances. One can love in a hospital or a prison or in a war. No, one can't, not really. One can love one's captor. That is Stockholm Syndrome, said Lily. The Swedes know a lot about love. Yeah, the land of the midnight sun. You can paint your house all night there if you want. Have you become the unquiet dead? A garrulous ghost? I guess. I suppose at this late stage in the game I could be quieter. He just kept driving. Don't be quieter, he said. Lily went again into her 100-yard gaze. Where was the wide receiver? Oh, right, here. I was the she-wolf in the Arctic documentary, she finally said, searching for a place to have her hypothetical pups. I never found it. It was so damn cold, and the snow came and went, then came again. That's when howling began, and strange male wolves approached. And one of them was me, and one of them was not. Out the window, the bedheads of the keening, wind-blown trees waved their branches in screeching, stretching yawns. Remember when we visited the moon and people watched us on TV? She asked. I do. That was fun. We got right in there into the moon's grin. More grimace. The moon's winking grimace, and then we built a fire on the dark side of the moon to signal that we were there and fine and ready to leave. We memorized the swiftly retreating galaxies, feeling more alone than ever in the universe. Remember when I found you in that smashed-up spaceship in New Mexico and had to take you home? Had to. Everything's worth doing at least once, I suppose. Maybe we're just not all that bright, she sighed. We'll never know. Dearest sister, the sheriff seems not to care. Or to believe Ophelia. Not certain which, or something else entirely. Though I expect the law to come knocking soon, it hasn't yet. It has occurred to me that Ophelia, who busies herself downstairs as I write, might have grown frightened and not told the sheriff anything at all. She might have simply walked around the block, so now I am in a pickle. A pickle is a thing I understand. Plus, I am now indeed all the Elizabethan things Jack once uttered in the show business of his own mind, the faithless wench, the wretched bitch wolf, the fusty nut with no kernel, which despite my name and hospitality I cannot accommodate with much comprehension at all. I had once heard him say each of these things about other people. Instead, I asked Ophelia if we had enough cornmeal for the week. I believe so, Miss Libby. I also ordered some more butter and tea at the store. Miss Ann has charged it to your account. More tea, I said, as if it were a mysterious item I was just getting accustomed to. Just a pound, she added. Ceylonese. Well, that's excellent, I said, then hurried away. I need the preacher to stop by here and conversate a little. I need him to say daft and holy things and fix his face into a compassionate mask. He will be tedious and lulling, and the rhythm of my breaths will be returned by steadiness. He will seek to brighten and disperse the shadows in my heart, and his attempts will amuse me and summon admiration, though not much else. I have no confession plans. Still, I remain vainly interested in heaven. Yours down here still, Eliz. What are we doing again? What do you mean? Are we flying? Murmured Lily. They had just sailed over a little hill in the road. I'm getting a chitty-chitty bang-bang feeling. I would like to feel we are cheerful as larks, singing mid-air, but I don't know. She looked down at her own abdomen. It's like I've grown a seat pocket with water landing instructions. Entrails is not a good word, is it? You are visceral, full of fateful auguries. My body a gauzy purse. Finn could feel the ticking of her life against the windows of the car. The papery edges of her had fallen in on themselves, and she had gone from origami to a wad. You okay? He asked. I'm feeling at moments like I'm not on the highway, but trudging along on the frontage road. While keeping his eyes on the driving, he moved his head briefly against her. I can feel the muffled pumping of your heart. The muffled pumpkin? Pumping. I wonder if we got all the mud out of my ears, you know? Here's another thing. I realize it's coming up, but Halloween is very insulting to the dead. I'm just starting to understand that. It's insensitive and incorrect. Why do people insult the dead with all the splayed skeletons and ghosts and stuffed people with rubber knives in their chests? The dead are trying to love us, to invite us. This is the tacky thanks they get. Invite? Perhaps he and Lily had moved out of controlled hallucination into random reality shards. Finn eased off the gas. Between them in the car was the electric atmosphere of a clash of wills. He no longer felt like himself, but also no longer felt like some attribute of her. He felt the light jangle of discord, the condition and feeling of every home he'd ever entered. To their left and right were low, undulating walls of rough fieldstone. I guess we're getting closer, Finn said. That's sweet of you to say, she murmured. No, I mean to the place. When the voice of the car's GPS came on, it directed them down a long country pike and then down a dirt lane indicated by a dead end sign, at which point Finn knew they had almost arrived. Dead end, read Lily. The rutted road to the body farm was lined with leggy hackberry trees. The tires threw stones up into the metal quarter panels of the car. The riverbed bottom of the lane had gentle ridges like the roof of a mouth. There was a second small sign. Forensic area, no trespassing. Forgive us our trespasses. People are always led into temptation, and they follow. One wrestles with it with conviction, but not much power. Oh, well, said Lily. I'm in overtime at this point, but I need to Google the rules. I think in the postseason playoffs it's sudden death. Well, I kind of mucked up the sudden part. The coin toss matters. Possession matters. Possession, she said. She pretended to mull this over. What are we actually talking about here? What are we ever talking about? He cut the engine and all was still. He kept the keys in the ignition and let the headlights shine. The body farm itself seemed to be behind and adjacent to an actual farm, as if the body field had filled with farmers who had just given up, wandered over and laid themselves down to die. He could ask her to save him a seat in heaven, but she would just shake her head and say, "What makes you think I got invited to that party?" Or some such thing. And the shaking of her head would cause it to twist at an odd, unfixable angle until she resembled a gooseneck lamp with a broken shade. The headlight on Lily's side suddenly went out, and the car was left with only one beam shining into the waist-high, dung-hued grass like a flashlight in lieu of a flashlight. How do we get over this fence? Asked Lily. Finn could see a sagging part of the fence that anyone could step over, but he didn't point it out. We wait for the deepest part of night. He could feel a kind of fury taking over him. Oh, Mr. Gloaming Gloom, she turned and fixed him with a stare of bewildering sparkle. Always with the dark. Believe me, it's not as if I don't understand. I want you in the world where you belong, he suddenly said. Perhaps the world where I belong is exactly where I'm going. Your spacecraft hovers? Your mothership awaits? He tapped his fingers, then slammed his hand against the steering wheel. Baby, you've lost that love and feeling, she said. I'm sad that you're leaving and that you didn't have a good time. He tried not to cry. I'm sorry I'm not reason enough for you to try. He knew that illness didn't work that way. One was not supposed to take it personally, but fuck that. I had a good time or two. Besides, Finn, it's not your responsibility. You're not the host. I am the host. I'm at least the host of my own life. You're not the caterer, and you don't own the restaurant. He was getting lost. I need some takeout. What? Damn it, Lily. You drove me here, Finn. I mean, you were driving. These GPSs are nuts. The car seemed to have its own wild logic, he pleaded. I've changed my mind. It's not too late for you to change yours. I know you can do it. Oh, Finn, I'm just a bump in your road. Perhaps like the one we just went over. It will give you a little lift-off feeling. No, it looks like I'm just a bump in yours. You are a beautiful person with years ahead of you. Forget about me. She seemed to be trying to smile sympathetically. The circles beneath her eyes had gone a briny green. Her eyelids, too. There was just mournful silence now between them. I don't expect you to understand us depleted people who only see the exit sign and want to head there. It's just who we are. Not really a choice, just as your not understanding probably isn't a choice. But thank you for taking me along the scenic route. Yes, this tweaky hellscape was epically immersive, but I didn't see you buy any postcards in the shop. Oops, yes, postcards. Now you're taking me to the dark place. That's a laugh. See, there you go. Was that so hard? A piece of pain seemed to be traveling up from her gut and making its way across her face to escape. Lily, don't you see that? And now he could hear the absurdity of his own words as they were forming, flapping, flying, that we belong together. I know you've never been able to find a through line through the indifference of the universe, but I can be a stay against that. I'm not part of the indifference. Her expression of mirth was so dry it was like 7 kinds of grit in his face. Oh my God, Finn. All your despair and insistence, what is it for? He shifted uneasily, switching his tack. It was her condition that mangled all the hope, also killed the illusions that contained the hope, like soap bubbles that contained rainbowed air before they burst. She was wedded to eventual obliteration on every front. If she couldn't win, she would work hard to fail. The in-between places where real life occurred weren't detectable on her radar. That, too, was the illness, the faulty radar. When I say together, he said, I mean together living on the same hellish planet at the same hellish time. I don't need you to love me. I'm not sure I ever needed that. I have my own love for you. I have my brother. I have my job. I just need your willingness to try. She looked around. This place could use some patio furniture. I want you to marry me, he said. You are proposing to me? I guess. Yes, I am. His grievesome girl, his brackish belle, his diamond lil. Yes, say yes. He had never asked for much, but now her laugh was an unambiguous blast. Ha! He believed the arc and position of her mouth constituted a true smile. Maybe. He fashioned a smile in return. Because it was now or never for the smiles, for the request, for everything, in fact. Before now it had been never, but he wanted to fix that, to make time move backward, to make the air grow warmer and lighter, to fire the continuity staff of Mother Nature and God. There's got to be a judge, a clerk, a partner, a witness somewhere nearby. Can I get a witness? Look! He pulled a bar of soap from the tourist lodge out of his pocket. A cashmere bouquet to throw at one of the bridesmaids. Doesn't matter if the clerk is also the bridesmaid. I meant to ask before, Lily. I always meant to ask. Now I'm begging, which, let's face it, has gone out of style. People don't beg much nowadays. No, they don't. But I am. I'm begging. It was all hopeless. Like Eurydice, she'd grown fonder of the underworld, hijacked by death. Beggars couldn't also be choosers. Or perhaps she was not Eurydice, but just some irrelevant, lovely bug, something with the skitter of a beetle, the group kamikaze of an ant, the horned ass of an earwig. Human pleas were useless. He felt a little desperate and overwhelmed. She was a hauntologist, a destroyer of futures. Dangerous and ridiculous, yet one always had to hold on to someone like her. One had to challenge oneself and also, let's face it, protect society. Because what was love about if not that? Protecting society from all the crazy things you knew your beloved was? Of course, perhaps he had gotten some scrambled memos and read from them randomly or skimmed them all with only one tired eye.